Being ready can be very simple. Think of it this way. There are 3 areas of preparedness: you, the team, and the property. All 3 must work together in order to deliver exceptional service. Click each picture to see what I mean. In this area, you can be ready by presenting a professional appearance, being aware of your body language, managing your time efficiently, and being in a guest-focused mindset. Click on another picture. In this area, you can be ready by participating in the daily meeting and note how to prepare for the day, executing the tasks assigned to you, knowing how to step into a different role to help out when needed, and asking for help when you need it. In this area, you can be ready by ensuring the
Good morning. How are you today?
Buongiorno. Benvenuto.
Hello and welcome. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Goeiedag en baie welkom.
Good morning and welcome.
Buenos dias.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
你好，欢迎。
Good morning, Mrs. Wilson. Welcome back.
You know, there's something really special about arriving anywhere and feeling like everyone knows you and really cares about how you're doing. When someone shows they care, I feel more comfortable. Like I fit in.
The guest model will help you make great first impressions. In this lesson, we'll look at the importance of the arrival moment and the guest model. The importance of the arrival moment. An arrival is so much more than when a guest enters your property and checks in. It's every time they walk into a new space. Every first experience or interaction they have in your hotel. And you only have one chance to make a first impression. A warm greeting makes a guest feel welcome and valued. You can set the tone for a guest's day or for their entire stay. So, how can you make sure every arrival moment is a good one? Just think guest. There are 5 parts to guest. Greet the guest. Use the guest's name. Establish the guest's needs. Show interest in the guest. And thank the guest. G. Greet the guest. Body language says a lot. Look at this associate. When does he seem more welcoming? Guests might see you before you see them, so always be ready with open body language and a straight posture. Always make eye contact and smile. Have a friendly greeting ready for every guest, even if you're still helping another. You'll often be assisting multiple guests at once, and it's your job to make sure each guest feels acknowledged. Take a moment to say, "I'll be right with you, sir." It really shows that you care. Think how valued you feel when you get a good day or a welcome back from a coffee shop employee. You can easily make your own guests feel valued with a warm, genuine greeting. Then you use the guest's name. If you know it, greet guests by name whenever you see them. If you don't know their name, a good greeting would be, "Good morning, ma'am," or "Good afternoon, sir." E. Establish the guest's needs. Every guest has different needs. Ask questions and listen carefully to their answers. Pay attention to any cues you may notice so that you understand exactly what they need. S. Show interest in the guest. Start a conversation with your guests. Ask thoughtful questions. Avoid asking questions that are too personal. You could ask simple questions like, "Are you in town for business or on vacation?" Or, "Will you have any time to visit any sites when you're in town?" T. Thank the guest. End every conversation on a good note. Be warm, thoughtful, and offer further assistance when needed. And remember to always thank the guest for staying at your hotel, even when they're just leaving for the day.
Treat people how you want to be treated. When I go to a hotel, I love getting a friendly hello. It makes me feel more comfortable. That's what I want for every guest that stays at my hotel, to feel comfortable and to feel at home. I want every first impression to really matter, to make guests feel like they belong. I want them to keep coming back.
Hello. As an associate, one of the most important things I do is also one of the easiest. I welcome each guest I see. It's a way to let my guests know I'm truly glad they're here. To keep it simple, I just follow the 15-5 rule. When I see a guest 15 steps away from me, I make eye contact and I smile. When the two of us are 5 steps apart, I maintain eye contact. I greet them with the proper time of day, and if I know the guest's name, I use it. So it works like this. At 15 steps, I make eye contact and smile. At 5 steps, I keep looking at them. I don't look down or at my work. And I say, "Good morning, Mr. Miller," or "Good morning, sir," if I don't know their name. We also do this with each other.
Good afternoon, Patricia.
Good afternoon to you, Cortez. 15-5. It's a real easy way to say welcome, anytime. Give it a try.
Every guest has a different reason to travel. While you don't always need to know why a guest is staying with you, it is your job to make their stay great. To do that, you need to be able to find out about their needs. Sometimes it can be very clear. A guest will ask for an extra towel or a recommendation for dinner. But many times, guests won't tell you if there's a small problem or if there's something that could make their stay a little bit better. Hotels that provide the best service all have something in common. They anticipate guests' needs. This means the associates do not simply react, but all work to read guests' cues and proactively deliver an exceptional experience for every guest. This starts before the guest arrives at the hotel and continues throughout their stay. Think about the last time you walked into a store. Did an associate greet you and offer assistance even before you asked? Being proactive in your service improves how your guests perceive you and your hotel. They feel you're really paying attention and are focused on them and their needs. It's about treating others the way you want to be treated. When you do that, creating great guest experiences becomes easy. Being proactive can also prevent the guest from having a bad experience. A bad guest experience is any scenario where the guest is unsatisfied. Your goal is to avoid getting to this point proactively preventing bad experiences before they surface. You can stay a step ahead each and every day by actively listening, communicating with your guests, and working together as a team. Imagine this. The Salah family has been driving all day. It's 10:30 at night, and they are just arriving to check in. They are exhausted, but also very hungry. You hear them talking about getting something to eat as soon as they get settled. You know that most of the area restaurants are closed at this hour. Which of these actions demonstrate proactive guest service? Select all that apply. Great ideas! Being proactive and ensuring a smooth experience will usually address guests' needs. Associates who provide superior guest service know that it is everyone's responsibility to be proactive. Communication is the key to staying a step ahead. This allows the team to work together to proactively meet guests' needs. It can be as simple as a housekeeper putting extra towels and toiletries in a room that a family is checking into, or an associate remembering to set aside a few small boxes of cereal for a guest who always runs late to breakfast. Talk to your team and find out about the guests staying at your hotel. Small moments can have the biggest impact on providing great service. So take the time to discuss what each of you could do to make their stay even better. These examples are proactive because the associates paid attention to the guests' cues. It's important to look closely for cues that you can use to help guests make the most of their stay. You can learn a lot about guests just by observing them. While some cues are quite obvious, you've all seen guests looking around the lobby for the elevators, others are more subtle and not as easy to read. That's why learning to look for and interpret guest cues is so important. Picking up on guest cues is something you should always be doing. Being able to read and respond to guest cues allows you to create authentic emotional connections and individualized experiences for each guest. Some cues that you might see include a guest looking at his watch because he is running late for his meeting, searching through her bag because she has lost her guest room key, or browsing on her phone for local restaurants because she is interested in finding local cuisine. Let's practice. How would you follow up on these cues? What would you do or say to proactively help the guest in each of these situations? Click each guest to learn more. It's 7:30 p.m. and you've just entered the elevator going down. You encounter a couple in dressy attire on the elevator. They are looking at a map on their phone and discussing where to go to dinner. What could you do to proactively help these guests? Type your response in the space provided, then click Submit. A suggestion you may or may not have considered includes, "Good evening. Are you interested in recommendations on where to go tonight? I would be happy to help, as well as to arrange transportation for you if you would like." Select. A guest is having a meeting in your hotel.
I had a great visit here about a month ago. The rooms were clean and the beds were comfortable. But why I'm back is because of the staff. They really made me feel welcome. Everyone was so friendly and helpful. They always made time for me, to get to know me and what I like. That kind of genuine service makes all the difference when you're on the road as often as I am.
Creating connections with guests is as simple as starting a conversation. In this lesson, we'll look at 5 simple tips to create connections. These 5 tips are: 1. Know your guests. 2. Know your property. 3. Know the surrounding area. 4. Demonstrate hospitality. And 5. Work together. The more you know, the more you can personalize your interactions with guests. 1. Know your guests. While Joshua checks Chris in, they talk, and they learn they have a shared interest. They both enjoy jazz music. Taking an interest in your guest helps you learn what matters most to them. Any small detail can create a connection. Be sure to add any details to the guest's Marriott Bonvoy profile or reservation notes so the connection can deepen with each return visit to any Marriott property. 2. Know your property. Familiarize yourself with all the different features of your property and how each one meets the needs of your guest. Now that Joshua knows about Chris's interests, he can make suggestions that will add value to his experience. Three, know the surrounding area. Joshua knows the area around his property well and recommends a live music venue nearby that he regularly visits. You can personalize your suggestions like Joshua has by researching new restaurants, activities, and events in your area. Your hotel has the resources to help. 4. Demonstrate hospitality. Work proactively to deliver an exceptional guest experience. Put your guests first. Use what you know to make their experience better, and they will become loyal guests. It's that simple. 5. Work together. Everyone at your property plays a part in the guest journey and should work together to deliver a great guest experience. The daily meeting at your property is an easy way to connect, prepare, and ensure you know what's happening that day. Get to know your teammates and their skills and help each other create on-brand experiences for your guests. It may seem obvious, but creating connections is about being genuine and sharing a part of who you are with your guests. Remember, it's as simple as starting a conversation.
If I had to give other associates advice on how to create connections like I have with Chris, I'd say it's really not as hard as you think. You just need to be yourself. Often guests are around for an extended period of time, so you can't be fake. You need to make a real connection. You need to be present, listen, and don't try to force it. Just start a conversation and build on that. Simple.
You work hard every day, to make sure guests have a perfect stay. But every now and again, problems occur, leaving guests feeling upset or even angry. You have the opportunity to make a guest experience better when you learn to resolve problems. As leaders in the hospitality industry, you want your guests to leave satisfied with their stay. So, how do you solve a guest's problem effectively and make sure they leave your property happy? Just remember one word: learn. There are 5 parts to learn. 1. Listen. 2. Empathize. 3. Apologize. 4. Resolve. And 5. Notify. Let's take a look at how this associate uses learn. When a guest approaches you with a problem, show them that you're ready to help. Think about your body language and make eye contact. Then, you listen to their problem. Michael's air conditioner is not working. He explains that he has an important presentation to prepare for, but he can't concentrate in his room. You can only resolve a problem if you have all of the information. So, pay attention and listen carefully to the guest. If any information is unclear, ask thoughtful, clarifying questions. Empathize. Tell the guest that you can see why they're frustrated. See the situation from their perspective. Ask yourself how you'd feel. You could say, "I'd feel the same if I had a big presentation and couldn't concentrate because my AC didn't work." Identifying with the guest in this way will help you find a solution and ensure they feel listened to. Apologize. Always apologize for the problem and any inconvenience it may have caused. You could say, "I'm so sorry for this inconvenience, Mr. Lee. I'll do everything I can to make this right." Accept responsibility when it's your or the property's fault. An apology helps the guests feel better. When you apologize, guests feel heard and respected. Resolve. Now you can fix the problem and make the situation better. If there are options to solve the problem, ask the guest what works best for them. Then clearly explain what steps you'll be taking. Here you could suggest that Michael completes his work in the lobby while the engineer investigates the issue. If the AC can't be fixed quickly, offer to move Michael to a new room. You could also arrange for his belongings to be moved to the new room if he'd like. Working together as a team will help you resolve guest issues quickly. Find out more about what you can offer guests when resolving problems by looking at your hotel's service recovery model. Notify. Always record the details of the problem in the guest's profile and in GXP by creating a new case. Make sure you discuss the problem with your team and your supervisor. This way, others can learn from your experience and, as a team, you can avoid the problem happening again.
I'm always happy with the service whenever I stay here. I've never actually had any problems before, but when I did, I was really impressed by how much everyone wanted to help and make it right. They were genuinely concerned. From the moment I explained my problem, they handled everything for me so that I could concentrate on my work. Then earlier today, the general manager came up to me and apologized for the inconvenience, and even asked me how my presentation went. This hotel really puts guests first. I'll definitely stay here again.
The Learn model is easy to follow. Just remember, listen, empathize, apologize, resolve, and notify.
No matter how well you read guest cues and anticipate needs, the best associates know that they are able to deliver the best service when working together as a team. This requires that you are familiar with the roles and responsibilities of other people on the team so that you can provide additional support when necessary. You communicate with each other and show respect for one another and your guests, and you all contribute to the overall success of the hotel by working together to deliver the brand promise. Let's look at an example of how working as a team makes a difference. Mr. Morgan travels regularly for business, and he keeps track of his experiences. Recently, he wrote about this hotel on a popular hotel review site. He rated the overall check-in experience and went into detail about the superior guest experience. Let's listen to his review.
They have a great team. The front desk team was helpful and respectful to one another. When I asked someone for directions and she was unsure of the location, her colleague was able to offer assistance to get me on my way. The manager even came out front when she saw a line was forming at the front desk and helped check people in and picked up a few leftover cups on the table. Every team member was smiling, seemed happy, had a nice tone, and was very approachable. The person checking me in even thanked me for my loyalty when they noticed that I was a Marriott Bonvoy Platinum Elite member.
That review is great. What Mr. Morgan didn't see are the types of things the property does as a team to ensure a great experience. Every guest's request was accommodated or knew the hosts were made. So, in this situation, no matter the challenge. Here are a few more. These associates go above and
The morning is an extremely busy time at our hotel. Since we are in a central downtown location, we usually have a lot of business travelers throughout the week. In the morning, they often sit in the lobby and grab a quick breakfast and do emails or take a few calls before leaving for the day. While my primary responsibility is to work at the front desk, I often help out when there is downtime in arrivals and departures to clean tables or replenish food items so that breakfast goes smoothly.
While checking guests in and out is his primary responsibility, he went above and beyond by clearing tables and replenishing breakfast items.
My GM has been talking a lot about our guest satisfaction scores during our daily meeting. I learned that we had a slight dip in our room cleanliness numbers last quarter. Even though I work at the front desk, I want to see firsthand where I might be able to help improve our scores. I've asked if I can help out the housekeeping team so that I can see areas where we might be able to improve the experience when the guest enters the room for the first time.
What did this associate do to help out her team? Select all that apply. This associate went above and beyond by helping the housekeeping team and looking for areas to improve the experience. Teamwork is not just for solving problems, keeping a son Miles a happy birthday. What could you do to really delight these guests? Select all that apply. Great idea! There are many things you and the team can do that are little to no cost. Let's see what the associate did. You have many opportunities throughout the guest's journey to influence a guest's impression of you and your hotel. A departure is not only when in those moments. Here, activities next to the image of the guest that it matches. Not quite. Please try again.
I need directions to the airport, but my phone won't connect to the internet for some reason.
I only have 30 minutes before I need to leave the hotel. I need some coffee and something to eat on the way.
Actually, these are the correct actions. Here are two more guests. Again, click on the audio icon in each picture to learn about the guest's specific needs. Then, identify the actions from the options on the screen that you might take to respond to each guest's need. drag the appropriate action and play of the guest matches.
I wonder where I can print a copy.
I wonder if the art museum is within walking distance. And we need to find a great local restaurant to eat lunch.
Not quite. Please try again. Actually, these are the correct actions. There are some key steps.
A great stay is made up of hundreds of little details. But it's your great service that brings those details to life. Because you care. Because you make everything just a little easier for your guests. Having a positive attitude is the quickest way to help your guests enjoy their stay. Use the guest model and the 15-5 rule to help each guest feel comfortable and form a great impression of you and your hotel. And remember, always use a guest's name if you know it. Get into the right mindset by asking yourself, how would I like to be treated? Everyone appreciates an honest, personal connection. Get to know each guest, what they like, and what they need. Remember, any conversation could build a connection and create a loyal return guest. Be proactive. Work with your team and use the connections you've built to stay a step ahead of your guests and anticipate what they might need. Use the learn model to solve problems effectively and turn a problem into a positive memory for your guests. These positive, lasting impressions that begin or grow with each guest interaction are the heart of creating loyalty. You've learned the essentials. Now remember them, use them, and see how these simple tools can make a big difference for each guest.
Although your hotel is designed with a specific type of guest in mind, all types of guests come to stay, from business travelers to guests on personal travel to guests traveling in a group. Each one of them feel important. To deliver personalized service, let's see if you guessed to begin. Mr. Garcia and his son Isaac are in town to participate in a soccer tournament. The rest of the team can discuss the day's plans. Although guests benefit from many of your amenities, this is not the best answer. Although they might need to determine which answer is best, this feature would not be as important to them as free hot breakfast. Select Mr. and Mrs. Nasir have traveled to your town that night. Based on what you have, this is not the best answer. Though they may need to use the workspace at some point, because they are on personal travel, this is not likely a primary need for them. Select another. Ms. Yang.
So we recently took a trip, and on the way back home, little Miss Sammy here realized that we left a very important family member behind. You can't even imagine how upset we were. So I called the hotel to see what they could do. And you know where they found him? Hanging out by the pool. Turns out he wanted a few more vacation days. We're so glad he's back. And it looks like he had quite the adventure. Ta-da! It's true what they say, you know. Not all heroes wear capes.
Every day is an opportunity to surprise and delight your guests. Do this, and you'll create great memories and have a chance to build relationships and create loyal return guests. So, let's learn about what it means to surprise and delight and the difference between problem resolution and surprise and delight. Let's begin with what it means to surprise and delight. Surprise and delight is about going above and beyond to exceed guest expectations. And exceeding expectations is a way of thinking. It's asking yourself, how can I turn this into a great memory in a way that connects people? In a way that makes their experience better? It's going above and beyond to make guests want to return. It's delivering chicken soup to a guest who's not feeling well. Or celebrating a birthday with a thoughtful card and a balloon. Going above and beyond requires some thought and knowledge of your guest and their situation. It usually doesn't cost too much money, but it does require a personal touch. Think about it. Like a donut, essential services are the plain donut. Going above and beyond is the extra sprinkles. And it's those extra sprinkles, that personal touch, that makes guests happy. You can go above and beyond anytime or during problem resolution. So, let's look at the difference between problem resolution and surprise and delight. Problem resolution is about finding a solution to a guest's issue. The way you solve this problem is important because it reflects on you, your property, and the brand. Going above and beyond during problem resolution is what'll make your service something worth remembering. It's as simple as an unexpected coffee. Any small thing that says, "I care about you." It's more than simply solving problems. You are surprising and delighting guests.
Sure.
Surprise and delight takes a little work, but it's worth it when guests go home with great stories to tell. And it's such a fun way to be better at your job. Next time you help someone, give it a try. Go above and beyond and see how good you feel.
Even with your best efforts, guests will experience problems from time to time. A technique you can use to resolve problems is called the LEARN model. LEARN stands for listen, empathize, apologize, resolve, and notify. Let's take a look at each step in this model. Click on each letter, starting with L. The first step in the process is to listen. When guests approach you, give them your undivided attention and show they are your #1 priority. You can demonstrate this in 2 ways, verbally and with appropriate body language. Click on each to learn more. You verbally communicate you are listening when you respond to your guests and ask clarifying questions instead of merely repeating back what they said to you. If a guest tells you the ice machine isn't working and you simply repeat, "So the ice machine isn't working?" it doesn't fully understand the issue is a great way to communicate to your guests that you are. Guests also notice your body language. You can demonstrate active listening with good eye contact, nodding when necessary, and by smiling. When you're listening to an upset guest, it is important to appear calm. Although guests can sometimes be upset, from the statements below, all of these are true statements about listening. Remember, listen is the first step of learn. The second step in learn is empathize, which means to understand and share how you feel. You know what it's like when something goes wrong. It could be a stain on your favorite shirt, the loss of your phone, or a wrong turn. See if you can identify the best. While all of the statements, remember, to empathize, you simply need to put yourself in the shoes of the guest. How would you feel if this happened to you? Then let the guest know that you understand. Let's try another one. Great job! To empathize, consider how you would. Apologize is the A step in learn. Sorry the situation happened. Let's review what you already know about apology. When a problem occurs, it is important to sincerely apologize. It doesn't matter who caused the problem. Which of the following is an example of an... This is the only answer that includes an apology. The others are just reactions to the situation. Apologies have as long as you do them both. When you encounter a goal, no one likes having or ill guests. If you are solution, remember, with S, after to learn more, take final ownership if they are happy with the resolution. Have provided. There are some guest issues which all make a difference for you. Notifying guests. Now that you understand the key,
In a perfect world, everything would run smoothly. But that's not really how it is. Sometimes things just don't go right. Little things that say this is not your day. Burnt toast you can't do much about. But when guest problems arise, there's a simple model that'll help you. Problem resolution. You need to know how to categorize problems, how to apply learn to each problem type, and what examples of learn in each problem type look like. Let's start with how to categorize problems. Start by asking yourself 2 questions. 1. Does the guest seem upset? And 2. Does the guest feel that the hotel is at fault? By answering these questions, you can divide problems into 4 types based on severity and fault. This will help you decide what action to take. 1. The guest is not upset and doesn't feel it's the hotel's fault. You have to empathize with their problem. 2. The guest is upset but doesn't feel it's the hotel's fault. You have a chance to be a hero as you fix their problem. 3. The guest is not upset, but they do feel it's the hotel's fault. You simply have to fix their problem. 4. The guest is upset and feels it's the hotel's fault. You will need to roll out the red carpet treatment to ensure that the guest is happy with your solution. Classifying a problem based on severity and fault is the first step to identifying how you should deal with a problem. Now let's look at how to apply learn to each problem type. Learn is considered the best method to use when resolving problems. But do you remember what learn stands for? Listen, empathize, apologize, resolve, and notify. When the guest doesn't feel that it's the hotel's fault, apply the LEA part of learn. But when the guest does feel that it's the hotel's fault, you must use the full learn model. Now let's look at examples of learn in each problem type. Let's get started with one example that will alter slightly as the severity and fault change. First, imagine a guest enjoying a cup of coffee at breakfast. As she puts her cup down, she accidentally spills some coffee on her table and the floor. She knows it's no one's fault and isn't angry, just a little embarrassed.
In this scenario, quickly go up and clean up and tell her not to worry. Accidents happen. You're just happy it wasn't more serious.
This next scenario is slightly different. This time, another guest passes as Belinda is putting her cup down and bumps her. Belinda spills some coffee on her table and on a document in front of her. It's not the hotel's fault, but this time she's upset.
The difference here is an upset guest, and you don't want that. So do a little extra. Head over and clean up, empathize, offer a refill, and offer to help reprinting any damaged documents. Be a hero for your guest.
Now for the third scenario. Here, an associate accidentally bumps the guest and causes her to spill her coffee. It's clearly the hotel's fault, but luckily the guest is not upset. She understands that accidents happen.
If it's the hotel's fault, you must fix the situation. Say something like, "I'm so sorry about this." Clean up and get them a refill immediately. Remember, you may need to notify your supervisor.
In this last scenario, the coffee still spills, and this time it's more serious. It is the hotel's fault, and this time the guest is upset.
Problems like this are serious because you could lose business. To avoid that, make sure to go out of your way to fix the problem. Give the guest the red carpet treatment. I'd tell my manager, and he'd go over to check on the guest, personally apologize and offer to pay the dry cleaning bill. He may even go a step further and ask if there was anything else that could be done to make it right. Not all problems are created equal, but easy or complex, it's up to you to handle them.
Put yourself in the guest's shoes, categorize the problem, and remember, learn. Listen, empathize, apologize, resolve, and notify. This will help you make the right decisions for your guests and property.
By working together, aides. Make sure the guests clear tones. Clear. In addition to identifying and when a prospective customer comes for a tour, you need to demonstrate things make a difference. Finally, stay at your hotel. Now, she uncovered a lot of leads for her hotel, and she is anxious to share them. Let's see
Welcome to Recognize and Respond, Preventing Human Trafficking. You've learned the general signs of human trafficking, but you may notice some additional signs depending on where you are in the hotel. For example, housekeeping has access to guests' rooms and can see things guests may not display in public. Front desk associates can see how guests interact with each other and notice if they make unusual requests or show signs of suspicious behavior. After completing this lesson, you will be able to recognize the specific signs of human trafficking in hotel settings and report potential human trafficking situations if they occur on your property. Click the forward arrow to begin. It takes a lot of different jobs to make a hotel run smoothly. From housekeeping to the front desk to food and beverage, all associates have a responsibility to help prevent abuse or exploitation at their hotel. Let's begin by discussing warning signs of human trafficking you may see in a hotel setting. Please note this training does not contain all potential signs. Remember, each sign taken individually may not indicate a trafficking situation, and not all victims of human trafficking will exhibit these signs. Consider the context to help understand if what you are seeing is potentially trafficking or something else. The signs in this training may specify gender or age to help illustrate examples, but there is no single profile for trafficking victims or traffickers. They can be any gender, age, nationality, ethnic or socioeconomic background, immigration status, or level of education. Click on the hotel location where you spend the most time to learn about trafficking warning signs that may be observed in that area. Once you have reviewed one location, you can continue on by clicking the forward arrow. Click each topic to learn more about warning signs in the lobby space. Once you've reviewed all topics, you can continue on by clicking the forward arrow. Warning signs related to guest requests. A guest checks in alone but requests more than one bed, multiple keys, or several sets of towels or linens. A guest requests a room overlooking the parking lot, near an exit, not within view of the front desk. Mobile check-in or chat options can make it harder to observe guest interactions. Look out for unusual requests, suspicious behavior, and other warning signs during a mobile check-in. Warning signs during check-in. An individual or couple checks in with several females. In some cases, the trafficker may have a female who is both a victim of human trafficking and helps the trafficker control the other victims. Potential victims may exhibit signs of fear, anxiety, or respect towards these women. As a reminder, victims and traffickers can be any gender. Observing the same females on different visits with different males. Individuals who wait outside or away from the front desk until check-in is completed, then proceed directly to the room. Too much or too little luggage for the length of stay. Warning signs related to how guests arrive at your property. An individual is dropped off and visits for 30 minutes to 1 hour only and proceeds directly to the guest room without stopping at the front desk. Someone waits outside, for example outside of the hotel, in the parking lot, or in the lobby, for an individual who was dropped off for a short period of time. Warning signs related to a guest's reservation. Initial reservation is for one night, but is extended day by day or week by week. An individual attempts to book a room for a few hours or less than a day. Multiple rooms are booked under one name. If any of these signs occur outside of standard programs or typical rate offerings, continue to observe to see if any other warning signs are present. Warning signs related to security. A guest is avoiding surveillance cameras and security personnel. They may use oversized sunglasses along with a hat or a hood worn very low to hide their face. A guest is concerned with the locations of entrances and exits. Abandoned or locked out individuals on the property. Warning signs related to pay and identification. A guest pays with cash, prepaid debit or credit cards, or payment apps. Note: traffickers may also force their victims to take out debit or credit cards in their own name. A room is booked with a debit or credit card but is paid for in cash. The individual checking in attempts to use a fake identification card or is reluctant to show an identification card. Which of the following are possible warning signs of human? Click each topic to learn more about warning signs in and around guest rooms. Once you've reviewed all topics, you can continue on by clicking the forward arrow. Warning signs of human trafficking. Presence of drugs or sex paraphernalia, meaning equipment used for sexual activity. Multiple condoms. Frequent requests for new towels, washcloths, or linens. Signs that occupancy exceeded what was specified in the reservation, such as makeshift beds on floors or in bathrooms. Significant amounts of cash in the room. Multiple laptops, tablets, cell phones, credit cards, or credit card readers in the room. Too much or too little luggage for the length of stay. With evolving housekeeping protocols and cleanliness standards, you may not have as many opportunities to see things that guests may not display in public. Be familiar with these items so you can quickly identify them as potential signs of human trafficking. Warning signs related to a guest's behavior. Excessive foot traffic in and out of rooms or individuals hanging out in hallways or exits or monitoring certain areas. A group of people having a party in a room with individuals coming and going may or may not be a sign of sex trafficking. However, individuals going into a room one at a time at relatively regular intervals, usually 30 minutes to an hour, throughout the course of a night is a very strong sign. Name verification before the door is opened. Ordering room service but denying access to the room for delivery. Continually insisting on little or no housekeeping. Opening the door wearing lingerie or little to no clothing to meet a visitor. Which of the following are possible warning signs Click each topic to learn more about warning signs in other public areas at hotels. Once you've reviewed all topics, you can continue on by clicking the forward arrow. Warning signs related to an individual's behavior. Discussing a commercial sex transaction or arrangement. Remember, in many countries and cities, commercial sex is illegal. If you suspect commercial sex is taking place, follow local laws and reporting processes. Lacking knowledge about their surroundings. Appearing submissive or not speaking freely. Using inappropriate sexual language. Appearing underfed or unusually tired. Appearing distressed, coerced, or injured. Warning signs related to individuals under 18 years of age, also referred to as minors. A minor waiting at a table or bar is picked up by an older adult. A guest is entertaining a minor at the bar or restaurant that they did not arrive with. Remember, anyone under the age of 18 involved in commercial sex is automatically considered a victim of sex trafficking. Warning signs related to labor trafficking. Discussing a high-paying job offer in high-risk areas for human trafficking, such as domestic work, construction, landscaping, or arts and entertainment. Observing others, including those employed by a contractor or subcontractor, showing potential signs of exploitation, such as verbal or physical abuse by supervisor, lack of adequate breaks, being forced to turn over wages, lack of proper safety equipment, mentions of living in dangerous or overcrowded conditions. Warning signs related to requests from individuals. A guest asks for information on adult services or the local sex industry. An individual asks guests or associates for food or money. Which of the following are possible? Knowing how to respond to a potential human trafficking situation is the next step. If you notice warning signs and think there's a potential human trafficking situation, what should you do? If there is an indication of immediate danger, contact emergency services such as 911, 112, 999, or the local emergency services phone number in your country. Immediate danger means there is or there will likely be imminent physical violence that can cause serious harm, injury, or death, like a physical fight or a person making violent threats or displaying a weapon. If there is no indication of immediate danger, follow this 3-step process to handle these difficult situations properly. Click each step to learn more. Once you've clicked on each step, continue on by clicking the forward arrow. First, assess the situation. Remain calm. Do not publicly call attention to the situation or yourself, or let the potential victims or traffickers know what you suspect by staring or getting other associates involved. Do not try to stop or confront the victim or the trafficker, or call law enforcement yourself. Remember, traffickers could retaliate, and victims may be experiencing extreme trauma or control tactics that make it hard for them to reach out for help or self-identify as a victim. They may not immediately see your involvement as helpful. Even with the best of intentions, attempting to intervene could put you, the victim, and those nearby in danger. Instead, observe the situation and the interactions among those involved. Decide whether multiple signs of human trafficking you've learned about are present. Take mental or written notes about the situation, which could help determine if the situation is human trafficking. Include as much detail as you can, such as any names or nicknames overheard, room numbers, dates and times of suspected incidents, physical appearances of those involved, including tattoos or other physical identifiers, hair color, and approximate age, the location on the hotel's property where the situation occurred, behaviors, vehicle information including overall description and details such as the license plate number, a summary of the situation or signs you witnessed or overheard that prompted the report. Immediately contact your manager or the manager on duty so that they can further assess the situation. It's okay if you're not sure whether human trafficking is taking place. It's not always easy to tell what is really happening in a situation, especially when human trafficking is involved, because traffickers can be very good at hiding their crimes. If you see something suspicious, even if you're not sure, you should report it to the manager on duty. Managers should observe the situation and respond based on your property's protocols and this training. Remember, managers may also be getting information from other associates to help understand potential incidents. Click the forward arrow to continue on. If there's no indication of immediate danger, how do you respond if you notice potential? Associates should report potential human trafficking situations to their manager. Let's explore the responsibilities managers have. Managers should become familiar with signs of human trafficking and those that associates may see in different roles. Remember, no single sign should be the sole basis for reporting a situation. Emphasize their supportive associates reporting their suspicions to make them feel comfortable, even if the situation turns out not to be trafficking. Establish law enforcement contacts trained in human trafficking and familiar with conducting victim-centered and trauma-informed investigations. Work with the GM or other manager on duty to gather as much information as possible. Help make the reporting process victim-centered and follow suggested reporting procedures, which can be found on the Resources tab and MGS. We just covered a lot of details about how you can help prevent human trafficking. Take a moment and check your understanding by answering the following 5 questions. Feedback will be provided. You must answer at least 4 questions correctly to pass this course. You will have unlimited attempts to pass. Click the forward arrow when you're ready to begin.
Welcome to Recognize and Respond, how you can help prevent human trafficking. Now that you have a better understanding of what human trafficking is and how to spot the crime, it is time to practice applying your skills to hospitality-based scenarios. These scenarios may contain signs of human trafficking. So as you go, you will answer questions about what you are seeing and how you could respond to the situation. Choose the option you think is best. Click the forward arrow to begin. Let's start with a scenario that could occur in the lobby during check-in. Two males and a female approach the front desk with a complaint about their mobile check-in and room locations. The associate sees in his system the reservation is for 4 rooms on different floors. One of the males says that won't work. They need all of their rooms to be next to each other. The other male adds that they would like the rooms to be near the exit on the other side of the building, explaining that they are smokers and will need to go outside frequently. The front desk associate explains that the hotel is very busy this weekend, but he'll see what he can do. While he is looking, the front desk associate overhears the second male guest scolding the female, telling her under his breath that she was supposed to make sure the rooms would be next to each other when she booked them. The female responds by saying there wasn't an option to do so on the mobile check-in. The male interrupts her and says, "I don't want to hear it." Her facial expression immediately changes. She drops her gaze to the floor and looks sad. The other male then says to the front desk associate, "Sorry about her. She can't do anything right." After overhearing the guest's conversation, the associate notices that the female looks unusually tired and underfed. Let's pause for a moment and consider whether there are any potential signs of trafficking in this situation. What is suspicious about this group's behavior? Select the best answer, then click Submit. You're on the right track and are picking up on subtle behavior. Now, let's look at a situation that might take place within a guest room. Seeing there isn't a Do Not Disturb sign on the guest room door, a housekeeper knocks on the door and identifies themselves 3 times. After no response from the room, she enters the room to perform her cleaning tasks. She notices that the room is very messy. Women's clothing is strewn all over the floor, including several school uniforms and lots of lingerie. There are piles of towels on the floor next to the bed, far more towels than were originally included in the room. When she looks in the bathroom, she sees even more towels on the floor and notices a few have bloodstains on them. After gathering the dirty towels, the housekeeper sees 2 student identification cards on the floor. While she doesn't normally look at personal items in guest rooms, she is becoming concerned about some of the warning signs she has seen. She notices the identification cards include their birthdays. They are both 16 years old. On the nightstand and desk, there are large piles of cash. As the housekeeper is cleaning the desk, she notices an open laptop is displaying an online ad with pictures of females that look like the 2 girls she saw on the student identification cards. She looks in the trash can and sees empty condom boxes and a few small orange plastic caps. The housekeeper's mother has diabetes, and she recognizes the caps as tops to syringes. Suddenly, a female guest yells from the hallway. She is furious with the housekeeper for entering the room and asks her not to return for the duration of the stay. What aspects of the room stood out to you as unusual or suspicious? Click all that apply, then click Submit. What should the housekeeper do next? Select the best answer, then click Submit. Let's move on to a scenario that might occur in the hotel's restaurant or bar area. A professionally dressed, middle-aged male is sitting alone at the hotel bar. A female enters the bar and walks toward him. He looks up as she approaches. He looks down at his phone once more, then back up at her. He tells her, "You look just like your picture." He motions for her to sit down next to him. The bartender approaches and asks her what she would like to order. She orders wine. When the bartender asks for her identification card, she presents her ID that shows she is 22 years old. As the bartender is pouring her wine, he sees them talking and laughing. He hears the man reference an arrangement, but doesn't catch all the details of their conversation. Do you notice anything suspicious about this situation? Select the best answer, then click Submit. Recognizing the potential warning signs, the bartender reports the situation to his manager. The bartender explained he saw a guest entertaining someone with whom he did not originally arrive, and the male guest looked at his phone and referenced her picture when she approached him. He also overheard them discussing an arrangement. The manager thanked the bartender for reporting the information and suggested they consider the bigger picture. She agreed there were some warning signs in the story that could indicate human trafficking, but there could also be other explanations for those things. Maybe the guests were on a first date after meeting on a dating app. The manager explained that there aren't any signs of psychological or physical control tactics or behaviors, nor any indication that a minor is involved, so there aren't enough signs to conclude that this is a human trafficking situation. She asked him to continue to observe the situation and report any signs of illegal activity to her. After hearing the manager's perspective and reconsidering the situation, do you think it was still a good idea for the bartender to report the situation? Now let's focus on a scenario relating to labor trafficking and contractors that may work at a hotel property. For the past few weeks, a pool attendant has been watching the third-party landscaping crew working on the hotel's property grounds. He first noticed the crew when he heard one of the men yelling at the other crew members. The man was yelling in a language that the pool attendant only speaks minimally. However, he could tell that the man was angry and aggressive by the tone of his voice and the reactions from the other workers. They did not say anything back to him, but some looked withdrawn and they all began working very hard. Since then, the pool attendant has been paying more attention to them. He has seen a few different older men yelling at the workers. These men are never doing the work themselves. He also realized he has never seen the workers take a break, even just to drink water or eat lunch, even though the weather has been very hot and humid, and they have been working very long hours every day. Although his understanding of their language is limited, he thought he overheard the workers mention a debt and talk about how little they are paid. It sounded like they are being paid well below the local minimum wage. This morning, he saw some of the workers climbing trees and using power tools to trim the branches. They didn't use any safety equipment that he could see. What is your first impression of this situation? Select the best answer, then click Submit. What is the best action for the pool attendant? Before we conclude this lesson, let's review
Note: in this course, the terms supervisor and manager are used interchangeably. As an employee, you should think of yourself as a citizen of the organization you work for. As a citizen, you are deserving of respect and also expected to act respectfully toward other citizens. Achieving a respectful workplace can be especially challenging when there is a geographically diverse workforce. Inevitably, there are fewer opportunities for face-to-face interactions when coworkers are in far-flung hotels, and as a consequence, there may be more opportunities for misunderstandings. But the basic principles of respecting your fellow workers are the same, whether your coworker is in the same department or on another continent.
Harassment is against the law in most countries around the world. Though the laws may differ slightly in the details, they all aim to protect. In order to ensure that employees follow the law and to promote a professional work environment, companies create.
As an employee, you should be familiar with Marriott's apply principles. Recognize how acting with respect toward your
All employees deserve to work in a
Reuben's behavior wouldn't rise to the level of illegal harassment, but it was certainly unprofessional. As well as interfering with the business of the meeting, it has a negative impact on Ravi's morale. Reuben's behavior wouldn't rise to the level of illegal harassment. The quality of work relationships has a part of Ravi's. At other times, Ravi has tried. Not only Ravi's. There seems little chance. And Ravi. Julie really. Dave seems. Given the stress Dave is putting her under. So, what do you think about this bicycle manufacturer? Does it seem like a good place to work? If you said no, you're in good company. If this disrespectful behavior, you can't help but wonder. Ravi and Julie are doing their best to cope with a Value all of your Be courteous in all your communications. Consider the Never. Don't ignore rude,
Select each principle for more information.
Think back to Ravi's and Julie's experience at work. Which of the Think back to Ravi's and Julie's experience. Let's practice applying what we've covered so far. Think back to Ravi's and Julie's experience at work.
Select.
Think back to Ravi's and Julie's experience at. Let's practice applying what we've covered so far. Sometimes superficial difference, but there can be. For instance, Americans. It's as an employee, it's up to you. As you've learned, respectful workplace. As you've learned, respectful workplaces. So far, criticism is sometimes necessary. As you've learned, respectful workplaces embody a number. As you've learned, respectful workplaces. So far, we've covered the basic. A workplace where employees, when people are, sometimes inappropriate behavior may be the benefits of working in a respectful environment are to review, there are 5 basic principles you can apply every day. In an effort to promote a respectful work environment, it's important for coworkers to overcome any prejudices they may hold, including stereotyping is disrespectful. Rubin's racial insinuations are not only unprofessional and disrespectful, they could also be illegal in many countries. Now, imagine that Rubin, who was very upset about how the call relying on prejudiced views and age, sex, in addition to avoiding stereotype, consistently demonstrating respect in all situations at work is. Consider this scenario. Consider. Remember, as we've discussed, respect means in the early. Which kinds of disrespect was Rubin guilty of in that? Had he done? Which kinds of disrespect was Rubin guilty of in that?
To act respectfully in the workplace, you should value individuals for who they are. Be
Which 2 statements are A colleague at your company's German office calls to tell you that there's been a fire in the building. Which two statements accurately describe benefits of having a respectful workplace?
What are 3 benefits of being aware of and taking steps to prevent workplace harassment? What are 2 benefits of being aware of and taking steps to prevent workplace harassment? What are 2 benefits of being aware of and taking steps to prevent workplace harassment?
Which two statements are benefits of having a respectful workplace? A colleague, Martin, has asked your opinion on a report he has drafted. You found it was well researched, but that in some places it was a little hard to follow. What would be most appropriate to say?
What are 3 benefits of being aware of and taking steps to prevent workplace harassment? A respectful workplace is Ruben's behavior wouldn't rise to the level of illegal harassment, but it was certainly unprofessional, as well as interfering with the business. Ruben's behavior wouldn't rise to the level of illegal harassment, but it was certainly unprofessional. The quality of work relation, part of Ravi's, at other times, Ravi has not only Ravi's a instead there seems and Ravi isn't the only Julie really date. So what you